Someone posted on my channel asking if we could have an in-depth demonstration of the compressor on iOS, and I thought, yes, okay, I'll not only describe the one that's on here, but the basics of why we have it and what we need to do with it and how it makes a difference to your mix. Now, if I go to a new file, I'm just going to have a quick in fact, what I'll do is I'll record first on the audio recorder. So this is just the internal mic, and I'm going to record the numbers 1 to 8, but I'm going to have 1, 3, 5 and 7 loud, 2, 4, 6 and 8 quiet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so at the same time, I'm just going to play that back so we can check it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I'm just going to put a drummer beat underneath that. There we go. One of those, and I'm going to put bass line with it as well. So this basically means that you're not going to hear the 2, 4, 6 and 8 because they will be obscured by the rest of your band. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'll just put a guitar with that as well. One, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And just for good measure, I'm just going to stick a nice Fender Rhodes underneath it so it can really swallow up all those consonants that I've just put in. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the idea here is that the vocals that go over the top of all those other instruments need to be processed in such a way that you can hear everything. At the moment you can't hear 2, 4, 6 or 8. This is where your compressor comes in. So I'm just going to make this also 2 bars only so that we can go round and round while we're playing with this. There we go. There we go. There's 2 bars only, so 1 to 8 and then it goes round again. Now, the compressor, I'm just going to go into track settings now. So on the left hand side here, you can see all of your bits and pieces, bass, treble, echo, reverb, all that. We've got one here called compressor, but in order to show you how the compressor works in this, I'm going to go into plugins and EQ and have a more in-depth look at the compressor. So let's switch it on and open it up. Before we start with this, I'm going to take the mix up to 100%. What that means is that the compressor, unusually, you can select how much compression you have in your signal chain. 0% means the compressor isn't going to work at all, whereas 100% means it's going to fully work. Now, the first control at the top, compressor threshold. What does that mean? Well, 0 dB is the highest level that a digital system can reproduce, can record and reproduce. And then the lowest one is a negative figure, usually about -90. So we've got a 90 dB dynamic range. In fact, it's a little bit less for the mic on the iPad. But the CD quality is basically 90 dB dynamic range. So 0 dB being the loudest, -90 being the quietest. Now what the threshold does is it decides at what level the compressor is going to act. Is going to actually switch on. If I have a compression of 0 dB, it's not going to do anything at all. The only thing it would, well, if you've got something recorded at 0 dB, it might squash it. But the lower your compressor threshold, the more it's going to compress the loud bits, the 1, 3, 5 and 7 that I spoke there. Now the idea here is then that we reduce the level of 1, 3, 5 and 7, and at the same time, with the compressor threshold set so that it's squashing this down, it will leave 2, 4, 6 and 8 alone. So we get something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beforehand, you couldn't hear 2, 4, 6 and 8, and they're starting to appear now. Now the ratio, the next one down, this is how much compression is applied. So when the compressor acts, which is where the threshold is, if you've got something that's louder than the threshold, when that actually compresses, it essentially reduces the level even more as you go up with your ratio. Now, the ratio of something like 30:1 is heavy compression. If I just play that back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Now, we also have a gain control here, which I had to turn up in order to hear the quiet things. So basically, if you've got the compressor, if we've got the maximum level and the minimum level, the compressor does this to your maximum levels, and then your gain brings it all back up again. So that means that the quietest sounds have been amplified now, but the loudest sounds are the same as they were without the compressor. That's the idea. So if I just bring the ratio up and then the gain right up, we get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can hear it sounds very, very squashy indeed, and we don't really want that. Now, of course, I'm doing spoken word here, so it doesn't really, I should be singing something with this, which I will do in a second. Now, the attack is how quickly the compressor acts when the noise, when the level goes over the compressor threshold here. So at the moment, anything that is 18.5 below full scale, or minus 18.5, anything that goes over that will be compressed. Anything that isn't over that will be left alone. So the 2, 4, 6 and 8 that I had were very, very low indeed. Now, all the figures here are slightly arbitrary because you don't get recording levels as such on GarageBand. It's just, a level meter that's green, and then it goes yellow, and then orange, and then red, which is essentially over recording. So it's not quite all these figures here. They are a little bit misleading because you don't have any control over your audio levels. So if I bring the attack, it defaults at 10 milliseconds, which means that it won't necessarily strip all the consonants or the sort of the attack of the note, which is kind of what you want. Of course, you can go all out with the attack and have 200 milliseconds, so the compressor won't act for 1/5 of a second, and then it'll squash it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it sounds tighter when the attack is faster, but you don't want an attack that's too quick. So gain, as I just described, this is essentially setting the output level of the compressor to compensate for the compression that's just been applied. If I switch the compressor off, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The idea is, with the gain, is to set it at the same level as if there was no compression there at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. So with all that squashing of 1, 3, 5 and 7, bringing the gain up has actually brought 2, 4, 6 and 8 out a bit more. Now I'm going to duplicate this track, and I'm just going to mute this as well. I'm just going to mute this track. And then I'm going to just sing something over the top of this. Where are you today? Where are you today? I don't know where that came from. Okay, let's listen to that. Where are you today? Now I'm going to take the vocals down a bit in level here. Where are you today? Today, the 2 of today was a bit lower in level. You can see it just above my finger there. I just unselect that. Just that little lump there before the day bit. Where are you today? So the are you and to are lower in level. Now if I have my vocal level down a bit. Where are you today? Now if I go into the compressor now it's put some compression on. I thought it sounded a bit too good. Where are you today? So if I just bring the volume of the track up, Where are you today? Now the to of today, as I said, was too soft, and the day bit was too loud. This is where your compressor kicks in. So if I go into the compressor now, I know why that happened is because I duplicated the other track that had the compressor on. That's why it was working. So if I now just try setting my threshold, now the ratio wise, 8.7 to 1 is pretty heavy for vocals. Aim at it for anything between 3 and 6 to 1. So yeah, let's just try 4.8 to 1. All of this depends completely on personal preference. Your ears are the ultimate judge here. Where are you today? Now, all of the vocals, the words were the same volume there. Where are you today? Do we want that? The only trouble with over-compressing something is that you lose the dynamics of that, the dynamics of the performance. So let's just try taking the ratio down a bit. Where are you today? See, that sounds a little bit more natural. It sounds as if it's sitting over the mix there. So, as I said before, mix at the bottom. The moment you open up the compressor, slide mix to 100%. Otherwise, you won't hear anything. You won't hear the compressor at all. Of course, the reason that the mix is there is sometimes you might want to just tweak the compressed volume with the uncompressed, and it means you've got some sort of control over how strong the compression is. So it's actually quite a useful control. It's just a sort of a global yes or no. So if I just go to the beginning once again, ratio 3.5 to 1, 14 dB below full scale. Now, and a word about the decibel scale. 6 dB on recording level equates to half the signal level, half. So plus 6 dB would be doubling. So minus 6 dB is halving. It's a bit different in terms of acoustic level. If you go into a factory or somewhere where there's lots of noise, there'll be a placard on the wall showing safe sort of levels of acoustic energy. And in that instance, it's 3 dB, which is halving. So you can stand 88 dB for 15 minutes. 91 dB would only be 7.5 minutes. And of course, there are levels at which your hearing can be damaged permanently. So for electrical level or recording level, we're talking about 6 dB being a halving of level. So if I set the compressor threshold to 6 dB, that means that when there's half the recording level there, that's when the compressor acts. Of course, this is down to your ears. Where are you today? Where are you today? Where are you today? If I set the threshold right down on this, minus 50 dB, it's basically just going to compress everything. And then the ratio of 30 to 1, see what that sounds like. Where are you today? Where are you today? You could hear the noise there. Now that's because it's compressing so heavily, it's bringing up the noise that is inherent in the mic on the iPad, or the noise around you. It could be echo, it could be the trees rustling outside. It's suddenly going to pick those up. So you've really got to be a bit careful with this. So I'm just going to bring the compressor threshold up to the ratio. Just take the gain down a bit. Just check my levels are the same on the compressor with it off or on. Where are you today? Where are you today? You want to be able to do a vocal performance. Where are you today? Even though the vocals, there was a lot of difference in level there. If the vocals are brought up, are compressed, you can still hear that the vocalist is singing quietly because of the tone of their voice. Where? So you do have the sort of the timbre of the vocals to work with as a performance as well. So it needn't be all about volume. So when you compress something like that, I'll tell you what, I'll get rid of that and I'll record another one. Where are you today? Okay, so there's a massive difference in level there. You can see that on the trace. It's much, much lower at the end. Let's see what happens if I just take the compressor off. So this is as recorded. So it's basically missed out the whole second half. It's just lost underneath the drums and the bass. Let's put the compressor back in. Let's set the threshold a little bit lower now, so that it's going to bring up those quiet levels a bit better. Where are you today? There we go. You could hear the second half of that much better. The best thing to do is to listen to it and tweak as you go, to get an overall sort of overall view of what's happening. Now, of course, with GarageBand, you can use the automation feature if you've got a particular word that's really high and you can't clean it up in the mix. You can use the automation just to bring down that word. So it's kind of old school with the riding the fader. So there we go. There is an example of how to go about using the compressor on iOS with a bit of explanation as to what a compressor actually is.